Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Jambuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Sri Sri Kishore Kishore Ki Sri Jagannath Dev Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Sri Sri Gaur Nitai Ki Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Shambhaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana Ridyantaksta hibhadrani vidhunoti saritsatam Nasta praishva vadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatai Desetarane Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Canto 5, Chapter 5, Lord Rishabhadev's Teachings, Text 26. Sarvani maddishnyataya bhavabdhish Charani bhutani sutta druvani Sambhavitavyani pade padevo Vivikta drigbhistad uharhanam me Sarvani maddishnyataya bhavabdhish Charani bhutani sutta druvani Sambhavitavyani pade padevo Vivikta Drigbhishtad Uharhanam Me. Tishnataya Bhavadis. Padevo Vivikta Drigbhishtad Uharhanam Me. Sarvanimadishnataya Bhavabdis. Vitavyani Pade Padevo Sarvani Madishnataya Bhavabdhish Charani Bhutani Word for word synonyms, please repeat. Sarvani, all. Matdishnataya, because of being my sitting place. Bhavabdhi, by you. Charani, that move. Bhutani, living entities. Sutaha, my dear sons. Dhruvani, that do not move. Sambhavitavyani, to be respected. Pade pade, at every moment. Va, by you. Vivikta Drigbhi, possessing clear vision and understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His Paramatma feature, is situated everywhere. Tat u, that indirectly. Ha, certainly. Arhanam, offering respect. Me, unto me. Translation. My dear sons, You should not envy any living entity, be he moving or non-moving. Knowing that I am situated in them, you should offer respect to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me. Please repeat. My dear sons, you should not envy any living entity, be he moving or non-moving. Knowing that I am situated in them, you should offer respect to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, the word vivikta drigbi, meaning without envy, is used. All living entities are the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature. As confirmed in Brahma Samhita, andantarastam paramanu chayantarastam. The Lord is situated in this universe as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. He is also situated within every atom. According to the Vedic statement, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, the Supreme Lord is situated everywhere, and wherever he is situated is his temple. We even offer respects to a temple from a distant place, and all living entities should similarly be offered respect. This is different from the theory of pantheism, which holds that everything is God. Everything has a relationship with God because God is situated everywhere. We should not make any particular distinction between the poor and the rich, like the foolish worshippers of Daridra Narayan. Narayan is present in the rich as well as the poor. One should not simply think Narayan is situated among the poor. He is everywhere. An advanced devotee will offer respects to everyone, even to cats and dogs. Vidyavanaya sampane brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva svapake cha pandita samadarshana. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater. This samadarshana, equal vision, should not be mistaken to mean that the individual is the same as the Supreme Lord. They are always distinct. Every individual person is different from the Supreme Lord. It is a mistake to equate the individual living entity with the Supreme Lord on the plea of vivikta drik, samadrik. The Lord is always in an exalted position, even though he agrees to live everywhere. Srila Madhvacharya, quoting Padma Purana, states, vivikta drishti jivanam jishnataya parameshvasya varasya beda drishti. One who has clear vision and who is devoid of envy can see the Supreme Lord that the Supreme Lord is separate from all living entities, although he is situated in every living entity. Madhvacharya further quotes from Padma Purana, Upapadayat paratmanam jivebhyo ya pade pade bede naiva na chaitasmat priyo vishnus tu kaschana. One who sees the living entity and the Supreme Lord as always distinct is very dear to the Lord. Padma Purana also states, Yo haresh chaiva jivanam beda vakta hare priya. One who preaches that the living entities are separate from the Supreme Lord is very dear to Lord Vishnu. End of purport. Om Jnana Timurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Minitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, here Lord Rishabhdev, the Shaktivesh avatar, is giving some very important instruction. Also early in the second chapter of the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami introduces the same subject matter to the sages of Naimisharanya, where he says, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajkyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate, which means that describing that learned transcendentalists, they understand the absolute truth in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So this is the beginning introduction to the great work of Srimad Bhagavatam. And here Lord Rishabhdev is bringing up the topic of Paramatma realization and applying it. So and the topic of applying it means here he's saying, knowing that I, Supreme Lord in the form of Supersoul, are situated in them, every living entity, moving or non-moving. You should offer respect to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me. So this is bringing us, and Lord Rishabhdev is helping us come to the this platform of reality, of seeing things as they are, and of the personalistic platform, as opposed, as Srila Prabhupada is defending as the impersonalistic, as always. Prabhupada is bringing us from impersonal to personalistic platform, that this equal vision is not equating our identity with the identity of the Supreme Lord. We are part and parcel. And we are separate from the Supreme Lord. We are one and separate. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. That the jiva is the eternal Jivera Surpahoy, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatasta Shakti, Beda Beda Prakash. That the Jivatma is the eternal servant of Krishna. This is the Svarup, the spiritual identity. And further, that he's Krishnera Tatasta Shakti. He's a marginal energy of Krishna, simultaneously one with and separate from the Lord. So Lord Rishabhdev's teaching is helping us come to that, and only when we apply the philosophy and develop this vision, then we can properly enter into our real spiritual life, our active position of loving service to the Lord. And these different levels of realization need to be cultivated. And without direction, perfect direction descending from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, from the Lord Himself in this case, and the teachings within Bhagavad Gita, how would we change? How would we act in a different way? So we can question, why is Lord Rishabdev teaching this? Seems like a lower situation. We're devotees of Krishna. We want to worship the Supreme Personality in His all-attractive form and enter into this active, with our free will and enthusiasm, enter into His loving service. So the Bhagavatam is perfect in that way that it's bringing us through all different stages of realization. And we're conditioned souls. Our qualification is that we're under illusion. We have imperfect senses. We have a cheating propensity. And what's the fourth? We're always making mistakes. So very fallible. And under the influence of false ego, we cannot follow these instructions of offering respects to all living entities at every moment, because we don't understand even the nature of the soul. We're not even on the platform of Brahman realization, seeing that all living beings are equal, parts and parcel sparks of the Supreme Lord, equal and separate, and that within every embodied being rides a personal manifestation of the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. So, and therefore, respect should be given. But because of this false ego that I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller, I'm the Lord of everything I survey, I'm in the mood of enjoyment, as opposed to the mentality of service, we can't understand this position. Even we take on some philosophy, some jnana, but not unless and until we enter into the mood of service, we'll still be caught by this fault, the major fault of trying to be the enjoyer and the controller. We'll want to, this is the world of exploitation. The spiritual world is the world of seva, of devotion. So as long as we're thinking of exploiting, we'll be without the realization that it takes to enter into real devotion. So this envy is called jiva himsa. It's we're in the mood of exploiting other living entities. And even in the name of some instruction, what is that in the Bible? It says, man has dominion over the animals. So, because of imperfect knowledge and a strong propensity for exploiting and controlling, people think they're opening slaughterhouses and killing and slaughtering the animals. This is a very gross example. But the instruction is there, men have dominion over animals. And if you look in the dictionary under dominion, there's the word, what is it? That we're stewards, we're caring for, not to exploit. Just like we have dominion over our children. We don't exploit, we care for them. We try to understand their self-interest and help them achieve that. So we need to have respect for all living entities seeing that they're equal manifestation to our own self, and they're all progressing, hopefully progressing, on the path of spiritual advancement. Even in the animal species, we know they're naturally progressing from lower to higher. And within every body, the Lord respects the living entity so much that He's riding with him as the witness, the guide, permitter, and the dearmost friend. So that's the absolute arrangement of the Lord. And here Rishabdev is trying to open our eyes to respect that position. Otherwise, we'll be affected by this fault of jiva himsa, of envy or violence to other living entities, as opposed to the ahimsa principle, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as one quality for advancing in spiritual life. So, and Srila Prabhupada brings this up so much that this most sinful activity of slaughtering the cow, as well as so many other, we can just imagine a world devoid of this most gross fault of jiva himsa. The sinful reactions are so heavy, it's on such a grand scale that society at large cannot understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. They cannot understand their own identity or what is their own real benefit. So it's a very chaotic world. And another meaning of jiva himsa, or violence to other living entities, is not to, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one purport, Gundicha Marjana, I believe, Prabhupada's quoting the different impediments, the impediments within our own heart to progressing, to inviting the Lord, to sitting within our heart and engaging in real devotional life here and now. And that one of them is jiva himsa, and I think he quotes his Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and that jiva himsa, one principle is to not give transcendental knowledge to living entities, to not enlighten others about their spiritual position. Therefore, it's violence. We're keeping them in ignorance and keeping them in this world of suffering, actions and reactions, the fire of conditional life. So, in another place in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, I think we have this verse, states, Dvaite Badra Badra Jnana Sarva Mano Dharma E Bala E Manda E Sarva Brahma, I think. That in this world of duality, if one's thinking that this is good and this is bad, is all a mental concoction, manodharma. So, in the bodily concept of life, under the influence of false ego, we're absorbed in thinking. Our thinking, feeling, and willing is all just a mental concoction. And then he reiterates in the second line that thinking this is good and this is bad. In the material world, everything is bad. When we say good or bad, everything is bad in the material world. So thinking like this is a mistake. So we can see how our imperfect sense perception and under illusion we're always making mistakes. And the cheating propensity is a great manifestation of our envy for other living entities. So the only answer is Krishna consciousness. The only answer is devotional service. Lord states, Mam chayo vyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatichaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. So only by uninterrupted devotional service one can transcend the influence of the three modes of material nature and come to the spiritual platform. And what's the spiritual platform? That there's no sochiti nakangshati. What is that? How does it start? Brahmabhuta. So the spiritual platform, the actual platform of Brahman realization. Brahmabhuta prasanatma na sochiti nakangshati samak sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktyam labhate param. Then we can come to Krishna. So Brahmabhuta prasanatma. One is here the result of coming to a spiritual platform is that one is peaceful. Brahmabhuta prasanatma. He's not hankering or lamenting. And then he can see he's not trying to exploit his environment or other living beings. Because in this, if we can't have respect for other living beings, we remain on this platform of trying to exploit other entities, be they humans or animals. We're thinking is for my enjoyment. I want to control them and enjoy them. So this is a platform of no prasanatma, no peace or tranquility. And we will not be able to see other living entities equally. What's that in biblical, the golden rule? Treat others, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I remember my mother always used to tell me that. So, but no one knows generally people don't know the secret. And the secret is devotional service, and that comes initially, and that's the function of Srimad Bhagavatam, that we can hear. We can get a vision, an equal vision by hearing from the perfect authority, from the Lord himself, from the Lord's devotees. And very, very powerful process. And this is Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, that just to hear and chant the holy name, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it will purify the heart. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Then we can act properly, and then we can get realization. So Srila Prabhupada is cautioning about this impersonalistic idea of equating the jivatma, the self, with the Supreme Lord. And a little criticism of those who are this concoction of Daridra Narayan, that seeing Narayan in the poor. That if we can see Narayan in the poor, why we can't see Narayan in the upper classes. The fact is that Narayan is riding within the heart of all living beings. So therefore, body is like a temple that should be respected. Prabhupada said we're offering respects at a distance to a temple and getting benefit. So we're actually offering our pranams, Namaskar, Hare Krishna. We're seeing living entity is riding with the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesha Arjuna tishtati. And the Supreme Lord is situated in every living being's heart. And He's helping. He's giving all help to the living entity. So we have to become this much advanced to really practice devotional service. Or else we'll be practicing devotional service and just keep falling back to a lower platform. But there's Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari. At least we need to come to the Madhyama Adhikari stage where the devotee he's seeing the Supreme Lord as his worshipable object. He's making friends, very loving and trusting friendship and relationships with devotees, and he's practicing mercy and compassion to the lower living entities who are not on a stage of spiritualization. He's trying to help them. And then he can be steady. Not that as opposed to the lower end of Kanishta Adhikari, he only sees God in the temple. And he doesn't even necessarily, he's not respectful even to other devotees, not to speak of other living entities. He may not even be a vegetarian. I mean, that's going on, right, in so many religious traditions. That's the general way. They're going to the church or temple or mosque, praying to God, some kind of worship, and then their life is full of violence. They're slaughtering animals, they're heavily engaged in envying all other living entities, even amongst their own family members. So Krishna consciousness is the only solution. And every morning we get up and bathe and we're putting on tilak. So this is our meditation. Body is a temple. I'm residing within the body and the Lord is there as my dearmost friend, devotee. He's the witness and He's the permitter. He's giving us all, fulfilling our desire. So we should learn how to desire properly on the spiritual platform. And we should engage in our devotional life knowing that the Lord as Paramatma is there as our friend. He wants to help us. Prabhupada said the Lord wants us to come back to Godhead more than we do. So at least we should take the coaching of the spiritual master. And just by hearing the instructions from the spiritual master, what's the verse we're chanting? Guru mukha padma bhakya chitete korya aikya arana koriho mane asha. That we should have we're praying that our only desire is that our consciousness be purified by the words emanating from His lotus mouth. So here's the efficient process. We're very fortunate living entities. By the grace of Krishna, we've come in touch with Guru, and by the grace of, by the strong words of the spiritual master, if we take them to heart, we can actually enter into devotional service. We can water the Bhakti Lata Bij and make very quick advancement. And hearing the words of the spiritual master means knowing how to water the creeper of devotion and weed out the anarthas, take out the weeds that will choke our devotional creeper. So here is nice guidance from Rishabh Dev. To not envy any living entity, not get caught thinking he or she is, I like this person, I don't like that person. or they're my friend, or even this bug. Prabhupada taught the devotees that you see a cockroach or some bug, pick him up and put him outside. Give him his space to live. So in so many ways we can practice being merciful and see how that doesn't open our receptivity to devotional life. So I think I'll stop there if there's some discussion or questions. One question.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. I was just wondering here, Rishabhdev is focusing on his presence in all living entities. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, Ishavasramidam Sarvam, that the Lord is situated everywhere, and so everywhere is his temple. But here he's focusing on the fact that he's within the moving and non-moving living entities. Mm-hmm. So if you would share some discussion, what's the special significance of seeing the Lord situated in living entities as opposed to just the understanding of the ever-presence of the Lord in whatever the circumstance or situation may be?
We just heard Srila Prabhupada say, Vishnu means he who is existing, he's present everywhere. So in the Brahman conception, we can understand that everything, matter and spirit, is a manifestation of the Lord. It's a manifestation of spirit manifesting in the material energy. And Prabhupada said once, we may say that we're sitting here on the floor, but no, we're sitting on Krishna. On Krishna or in Krishna. So Mahabhagavat, most advanced devotee, sees Krishna everywhere. Jagirath, that verse, I think it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how the most advanced devotee, he's not seeing this form or that form, but because of his realization, he just sees Krishna everywhere. So, your question is, why is he concentrating, Rishabhdev, concentrating on the super soul within living entities? My answer would be, one answer, that because this is practical for us to advance in devotional service. For our own devotional life, we're hearing and chanting and thinking, not that we're thinking God is somewhere else. He's right here. He's the witness. And He's waiting, like the example, like the two birds in the tree. One bird is enjoying the fruits of the tree and ignoring the other bird who is dearmost friend. So Lord is just waiting for us to start relating to Him in a devotional way. Even in the beginning, we're realizing our dependence on Him for His protection, for His maintenance, and for His mercy that we can enter into His loving service. So, and then as an appreciation, because we're persons, and we function best on a personal platform, relating to others also. We're social beings. We're very affected by so seeing all other persons and other lower species, and even immovable, as jiva souls accompanied by Paramatma. It invokes a very thoughtful mentality. And then we start doing unto others as we would want to have them do to us. And so it becomes a training for us. to see like that. Anyone have something else to add to that?
Just, you mentioned this also in your class. It invokes personalism. You mentioned that point.
Yeah.
It invokes personalism. I was just wondering why that. You also said it's because we're social beings, so that's easier to invoke personalism in relation to other, living entities, as opposed to personalism in terms of trying to see the Lord outside of that particular context where He's accompanying us or some other living entity that we can perceive as a living being, in our sphere of perception or whatever. I'm just expressing back to see if I caught the important points.
Well, I just thought of one thing, how we all know how association is very affecting. We're social beings. So even unconsciously, we take on qualities of those we associate with. And I know, especially in devotional service, just by watching other devotees, peers, or I like to find someone to look up to, I learn by seeing someone else. We've learned so much by seeing and hearing our spiritual master. That's one of the principles of the self-realized spiritual master, that he's teaching by his example. So, the example of a realized person is most important and very affecting to us. If we associate with a person in ignorance, then we're going to also be affected. Prabhupada said, if you notice something in your environment that's characterized by the mode of ignorance, and you don't do something about it, you become affected by the quality of ignorance. So if we live with others who have a spiritual vision and are at least trying to act predominantly a good bit of the time not on the bodily platform of life, then that will elevate us. That will help us be thoughtful. Because our tendency is to be forgetful. We're coming out of the modes of passion and ignorance. The mode of passion, just to act impetuously, and especially it's in the bodily concept of life, we're always just thinking, I, me, and mine, my benefit. And even in spiritual life, we see we can get caught with the desires. What is it? Adoration, distinction, profit. What are those terms? Labha, pratishta, puja. We want to be respected. We want to be worshipped. We want to be, everyone love us. So it's just it's what conditioned soul means. We're trying to, why don't I be the center of attraction? Strong desire. That's keeping us here. Therefore, it manifests gross and subtly the sex desire. So that's subtle sex desire is adoration, distinction, profit. So we should try to reverse that. We should take humble position and respect others, try to learn how to practice it, offer respect and offer service to others. We were just reading Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He would interact even with his disciples. Dasosmi, I'm your servant, whatever. Prabhupada would say sometimes that I'm just... Someone challenged him, oh, you're the first-class man? Student in Europe, something. Strong, critical. Prabhupada just stopped for a moment. No, I am fifth-class man. I'm the servant of everyone. So, humbler than a blade of grass. So it's helps us this is what is being talked about here. It helps us enter into the humble service mood. And then Krishna's mercy can come. Anything else over here?
Just as a follow-up to Ashraya Prabhu's question about why Rishabdev is encouraging his sons to see him as the Paramatma in the heart of every living entity, and not so much as all-pervading, like through the material energy, right? So I was just thinking how, obviously that's a higher realization. Paramatma realization is a higher realization than Brahman realization. And sometimes we tend to think that, well, we're working on Bhagavan realization, so we're like way past those other two stages. But actually, like a $100 bill has automatically in it a $10 and $5 and $20. So if one's actually advancing in Bhagavan realization, then they should actually demonstrate or exhibit the symptoms of somebody Brahman and Paramatma realized. So seeing Paramatma in the material energy, usually it's encouraged that you see the Paramatma in every living entity, but that you see all the elements of the material world as energies of Krishna. So I was just thinking how even as devotees, we often are guilty of not really seeing every energy, material energy, as Krishna's. In this sense that humans in general, like, pollute the environment, the water, the air, the earth. We use styrofoam and throw it in the landfill. We throw so much stuff in the landfill, and it just seems like we have to really work on that, because if we can't even show to others that we're able to respect material energy properly, then what to speak of respecting living entities properly, and what to speak of having Bhagavan realization. So it seems like Rishabdev is teaching his sons to see the supersoul in all living entities, because perhaps they're already on that level. They're not at this lower level where they have to be taught just to appreciate the material energy and respect the material energy. And I was just thinking how, the original Vedic culture was so perfect, because everything was biodegradable and renewable and sustainable, and you didn't have like today's world where just to drive to work you have to pollute the environment with the exhaust from your car and use all these nasty things like metal and rubber and this and that. The whole vehicle just gets thrown to the wayside someday. And so anyway, so I was just thinking like that seeing the supersoul in the living entities is a higher teaching.
And just one point, that how Lord Rishabdev has been glorifying the position of the Brahmanas as the highest and, worshipable and, as good as himself, like that. And so here he's training us to be, Brahmana is a big qualification to be really Brahmanically, and a real Brahmana is a Vaishnava. We hear. Prabhupada said a Brahmana need to become a full-fledged Brahmana, need come to the platform of Vaishnava. So here are all these things that we have to assimilate and gain realization of to be successful as Vaishnavas. That's a big, big term. Prabhupada said, somebody said, some talk in Mayapur, and there was something about, he's, I don't know how the talk was about Vaishnava. And Prabhupada said, Vaishnava, that is a very great thing, or rare thing. So we're being trained. Srimad Bhagavatam is perfect in that sense. We really have to soak up all these things. Dr. Luke.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna.
So, respecting others, does this mean to see them as superior?
Superior to ourselves? No, we're equal. Yeah, how to see that? Seeing equally, we're equal manifestations of the Lord. We don't have the right to control or exploit others. And if we are in a service attitude, we should be, if we want to gain Lord's mercy, we should be ready to help facilitate any living entity's birthright to become Krishna conscious. Or even, like was spoken, Donna Kelly said, within the environment, or any living, not to interrupt, as Prabhupada says, the progressive life of any, even the lower species. At least don't get in the way. Don't be an impediment. Don't be a big brute that just, wants to push somebody aside into the ditch and for our own gratification or aggrandizement or whatever. All other living entities have the same rights that we do, right? What's that? U.S. Constitution, equal opportunity, equal. Anyway, rights for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, freedom. So all living entities have, we need to respect their rights, just as we have rights to go forward. Especially human life and advanced human society with brahmanas, kshatriyas, and all supporting other classes of men. It's managed like that everybody is protected and maintained. Not that there's, due to an economic system or a political system, everyone's being exploited. And if you don't have money, you're really exploited. And nobody cares. And it's the standard, what's the word? It's the standard way that, exploitation is the standard. And there's what is it? 1% is, enjoying some material opulence. Everybody else is under the thumb. Something else?
Just thinking how in facilitating or being willing to facilitate and serve others in their progression in Krishna consciousness, it's necessary to exercise some degree of control or influence.
What was the word? Something, control? What?
Exercise.
Exercise.
Control or influence over other, like lord it over in a sense.
For the sake of, in spiritual life also?
Yeah, I guess, in an attempt to help them.
Well, control and influence is coming from Guru and Krishna. Everything else should be like very sensitive vision of that and managing that. Those who are managing within our movement they're just representatives of Guru and Krishna in that, not that they're not lording it over, but they're establishing principles. What is it? Standard principles and then details, certain standards. And then there's details everywhere how to apply. But there's certain standards, and that has to be maintained, but it's not that anyone's lording it over. And those who want to live under that umbrella, that structure of, within the society, they should understand it. So they're not, no one's feeling that they're being forced to do anything. Because these are principles of freedom, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. They are liberating us. Not that, oh boy. Not that some people outside will say, oh, this is a cult. They make them get up at 3:30 in the morning, take a cold shower, and come, and everybody just chants the same mantra, and they just dance back and forth. They don't know. They can't appreciate. But these are principles that are kind of reprogramming our consciousness from asuric to suric, from nityabada to nityamukta, liberated souls. So we're accepting it. We're undergoing some austerity. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shudyad brahma sokyam. Because we want spiritual happiness. We want devotional service. We're begging that we enter into Krishna's association. Okay. Anything else? It's getting a little late. Okay, thank you for your attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki